Welcome to the mysterious universe. Today, we will explore one of the most unique ethnic communities in the United States, the Amish. Despite living in one of the world's most prosperous and developed countries, this ethnic group has rejected all modern conveniences and chosen to adhere to a minimalist lifestyle. They do not use phones, computers, cars, and even lack grid electricity. Simple houses without a single light are the most characteristic image of them. With about 300,000 people, the Amish currently live mainly in states such as Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, and New York. This choice is not merely a lifestyle expression. It is also a strong commitment to family values and traditions. So, what is the reason they turn their backs on modern societal development? Let's explore the interesting things in this video with 21 strange and unique things only found in the Amish tribe. Never apart, rarely separated. The Amish adhere to monogamy. They only marry within their own ethnic group and absolutely do not marry outsiders. They are not allowed to divorce, and cases of separation are extremely rare. Typically, each couple at that time often had 6 to 7 children. And they do not use any contraceptive methods. A woman's pregnancy does not necessarily lead to childbirth. Therefore, the Amish population has grown rapidly. The population in 1920 was only about 5,000 people. To date, the Amish population has reached 30,000 people. Children, when growing up, attend public schools operated by the Amish. And only complete middle school, not continuing to high school. The reason is that they believe if children receive too much pressure in education, it will destroy traditional culture and erode their traditional values. Moreover, the Amish believe that no matter how much one studies, it is useless for the Amish life focused solely on farming and raising children. When it comes to childbirth, the Amish are known as a people with deep love for their extended family. They see it as a precious gift given to them by God. Having children, marrying, and establishing a family with neighbors is the goal of Amish girls. However, the Amish have a very strict way of raising children from a young age, teaching them to take responsibility for their own actions, start working as soon as possible, help the family, and live a purposeful life. A member of the Amish tribe, Mrs. Marcia explanation. Faith, God, family, and community are the most fundamental and important values in Amish life. In particular, family is the cultural bond and the foundation for Amish development. We put a lot of effort into teaching children from a young age to make the family image a deep, enduring part of Amish culture and heritage. We create a safe space for children to freely share and understand. Family is always a solid support for each of us, no matter what happens. Family is the center of everything in life. Adults never leave. The whole family works together, eats together, prays together, and shares joyful moments together. We build strong family relationships to accompany our children until they grow up. Children today do not want to leave the family embrace to integrate into the modern world. Family relationships are extremely strong, to the point that no one dares to risk harming them. Upon reaching adulthood, Amish teenagers undergo baptism to officially join the community, and must follow the rules and rituals of the church. Anyone who violates the regulations will be isolated for a period to reflect on their mistakes, and if the violation is serious, they may even be expelled from the community. Amish life is guided by the Orning rule. This is the unwritten law of the Amish, emphasizing values of humility, obedience, and restraint from ostentation. They oppose all forms of violence and do not participate in war or military activities. They also avoid involvement with the legal system, always preferring forgiveness over punishment. And they firmly refuse to use modern conveniences, remaining loyal to the traditional lifestyle that has existed for centuries. Most Amish communities are prohibited from owning cars and cannot use electricity from the public grid. They do not use automated machinery in agriculture, nor televisions, radios, or computers. They do not graduate from high school or college, are not allowed to enlist in the military, and are not permitted to file for divorce. They are not allowed to install landline phones in their homes and cannot use mobile phones. Recently, some localities have allowed the Hmong ethnic group to use landline phones. Some families will share one and keep it in an outdoor shed. For the Amish, photography is also strictly prohibited, as they believe it encourages personal pride and vanity. They fear that technology will cause their community to gradually dissolve and lose its identity under the influence of outside society. Because the Amish worry that technology and mass media will introduce foreign values into their culture. Although they understand that a car would greatly assist their work, the Amish are concerned that this vehicle would create distance within their community. They choose to transport by horse to preserve local community cohesion. However, some rules in Amish culture seem contradictory. For example, they are allowed to use 12 volts car batteries but not 120 volts electrical current. Additionally, most Amish are not permitted to drive motor vehicles, but they can hire others to drive for them. Live healthily and in harmony with nature. A day is counted from dawn until dusk. Amish men work on the farm, using horses to plow the fields. All harvesting and bamboo shoot purchases are done through labor exchange. Amish women typically handle household chores and care for, raising children in the family. Everyone lives clustered in the same area, always ready to support and help each other in both work and daily life. They do not work on Sundays, as this is the day everyone spends going to church to pray. The Amish not only avoid packaged and processed foods, they also grow all the food they need using organic farming methods. They do not use machinery such as plows, combine harvesters, or food processors. They raise their own cattle, pigs, and chickens. The food is completely natural and not genetically modified. They eat seasonally, consuming what is available each season, thus ensuring the highest nutritional value. The Amish understand that fresh vegetables and fruits contain many antioxidants. Very good for health, it is also a way to respect and blend into nature. The Amish today still maintain the original lifestyle, identical to their ancestors from 3 centuries ago. They maintain a sustainable self-sufficient life and absolutely do not use any toxic chemicals. They rarely suffer from epidemics and possess very robust health. Medical experts say there are almost no cases of cancer in the Amish community. And they are considered to have the best health in America. In their diet, although it contains high amounts of fat like butter, meat, eggs, and whole milk. However, the obesity rate among the Amish is extremely low, only 3%, a significant difference compared to the 31% rate of Americans in general. This is thanks to their hard work and frequent physical activity. Men walk an average of about 18,000 steps per day, equivalent to 19 miles or 14.5 kilometers. For women, the recommended number is 14,000 steps per day. Even though the Amish do not vaccinate, the rate of intellectual disability and autism among them is very low. Despite continuous pressure from authorities, the Amish firmly refuse vaccination. To date, only 3 cases of autism have been recorded among the Amish. And these are children who participated in mandatory vaccination programs. Experts believe that the actual rate of autism may be much higher than the statistics show. It might be because the Amish possess a special gene that is more optimized compared to ordinary people. The life of the Amish is completely free from the concept of stress. They do not have any competition or confrontation with each other. To build an equal community, with a lifestyle based on the spirit of equality, cooperation, and harmony among community members. Recently, the Amish allow children up to 16 years old to leave home for 2 years to accumulate life experience. After that, they can choose to return or separate from the community. However, despite the disruptions of outside life, up to 99% of Vietnamese American youth still wish to connect their family business with traditional agriculture. The Amish are famous for quite a few strange customs. And you will be extremely surprised to know that they even allow sleeping over or flirting right in bed. Couples will sleep next to each other with a wooden plank placed horizontally in between. In some cases, this bed comes with a headboard, always ready to prevent impulsive, thoughtless actions of the young couple. In other cases, each person must be wrapped separately in a blanket before being allowed to lie next to each other, staying up all night chatting. This is a tradition that is gradually fading away. However, this dialect is still used by the Amish community in Pennsylvania. Children in the Amish community usually only study up to 8th grade. And most attend private schools managed by the community itself. The education program here focuses on training practical skills, traditional cultural values and religious beliefs, helping children cultivate independence and become familiar with agricultural work. About 10% of Amish children attend public schools, but the majority still choose private schools to preserve their cultural identity. A distinctive feature in the Amish education system. This is the regulation on compulsory school age. When children turn 14, they have the right to decide to stop studying. And usually, they will help with family chores, or possibly production activities within the community. This regulation was officially recognized by the U.S. Supreme Court through a ruling in 1972. In the Wisconsin versus Yoder case, the court recognized the legal rights of the Amish community. In the process of preserving their unique lifestyle and education, it should be emphasized that the traditional education method is an important part of preserving the cultural identity of the people. The original text is just an incomplete phrase. To rewrite it into a clear, natural paragraph while retaining the implied meaning, I will develop it into a complete sentence. The combination of basic education and vocational education is the key foundation for shaping well-rounded generations of citizens, who have both a solid knowledge base and are ready with essential vocational skills for the future. And promoting family values, community spirit, helping children develop naturally and comprehensively, encouraging them to become responsible adults in society. Thereby, they preserve and promote the fine traditions that ancestors have maintained for centuries. The Amish almost never go into debt. Occasionally, they will contribute a sum of money to buy a house. However, usually, they simply live with their parents until they save enough money to buy their own share of property. That house will usually be small, meaning, when they have children, they will expand it. The real estate they own sometimes has a smaller area than desired. Therefore, they will monitor an adjacent neighbor. You are looking to sell some land plots. The Amish have a long and fascinating history in America. Since the early 18th century, the first explorers and settlers of this land, to seek religious freedom and the opportunity to pioneer and establish a livelihood, to escape the oppression they endured in Europe. The history of this ethnic group dates back to the late 17th century. In the year 1693, a group of people led by the priest Jacob Amon separated from the Anabaptist denomination, a group distinguished by a particular belief in the rite of baptism. Jacob Amon was not merely a religious leader, but also a messenger of positive and noble living values, like a compassionate heart, a deep concern for the community, and a simple, unpretentious way of life. He encouraged his followers to live a life of non-resistance, striving for good moral values and living according to the teachings of the Bible. The followers of the Amon deity faith gathered together and formed the Amish community. With unique living principles and distinctive cultural features, focus on agricultural farming activities and preserving traditional values. Since then, the Amish people have always preserved and maintained their traditional way of life, abandoning modern conveniences to preserve and uphold the ancestral traditional values. They often tend to live in closed, isolated communities, preserving cultural identity and religious values, at the same time, continuously developing agriculture in a sustainable direction. Perseverance and a steadfast commitment to that way of life are what truly define the value of the Amish people, becoming one of the most uniquely distinctive ethnic communities in the United States. Traditionally, agriculture has always been regarded as the foundation of the economy, to serve the working life and daily activities of the Amish people. However, in the past century, more and more Amish people entering the business sector, particularly in the field of agricultural product purchasing and trading. They also established construction teams specialized in building houses and other facilities for non-Amish people. Sometimes, they also work in factories, and that workshop is owned by the English speaker. For example, companies in the state of Indiana, specializing in creating entertainment products. Like all American citizens, they are required to fulfill their tax obligations in full, like income tax, property tax, and consumption tax on goods, real estate taxes along with taxes from businesses and schools. In reality, many Amish people have to pay school taxes twice, for both public and private schools. However, they did not close nor did they receive any social insurance benefits. In 1965, the U.S. Congress officially passed the Immigration and Nationality Act. The Amish people are exempt from this fee because they believe that this is a type of insurance in the commercial sector. The Amish people are also exempt from military service due to their adherence to pacifism. The Amish primarily use the Pennsylvania Dutch dialect, developed from the language of the ancestors of the Swiss and Germans. However, after more than 3 centuries, their language has undergone incredibly strong transformation and development. Even native German speakers sometimes find it hard to understand Dutch. The paragraph does not mention or allude to the country of the Netherlands, with flat terrain and abundant sunshine. That is Dutch. Pennsylvania Dutch is actually a dialect of German. The Amish speak German, but their pronunciation differs from that of modern German. Their language is also influenced by English due to their surrounding living environment. The Amish population, particularly in the state of Indiana, it speaks a language closely resembling Swiss German. The Amish people are one of the ethnic groups with the fastest population growth rate in the United States, according to research from the Center of Anapathet and P.S. Titt. At Elizabeth Dow University, the Amish population has increased from approximately 5,000 people in 1920, this number had increased to nearly 300,000 people and has been maintained to this day. According to the above agency's estimates, in 1984, the Amish population was only about 84,000 people. That means the population has more than tripled in just 30 years. The population explosion in the Amish community is primarily due to families typically having many children, because they see it as a small gift or blessing that God has bestowed. Large families also provide an abundant labor force. Of course, here are a few ways to translate that phrase, depending on the context. The Amish people often wear simply designed clothing and use monochromatic color tones. Some Amish community groups only wear clothing in black and white, while other groups wore brightly colored costumes. They do not use zippers or snap buttons due to the belief that they are at risk of exposure, so they use pins to secure their clothing. Before the religious ceremonies take place, the Amish people usually put on a cloak over their clothing. Amish women often wear their hair in a bun, don a cloth headscarf, wear long skirts, and adorn themselves with an apron. Do not wear any jewelry. Amish men must let their beards grow naturally. One of the most serious offenses in this community is the act of stealing silkworm cocoons, causing that person to be shunned, ostracized, and isolated by everyone. The Amish people live a minimalist life, discarding everything unnecessary for their existence. Even art, which they consider frivolous and a mere waste of time. The clothing is all sewn by their own hands and comes in only two colors, black and white. Of course, here is the translation. This design has remained unchanged for hundreds of years. Amish women do not wear jewelry and also do not cut their hair. After getting married, many men tend to grow their hair long. Particularly, the Amish people have a custom that prohibits filming or photographing their faces. They believe that only the Creator has the power to shape human faces. For this reason, the Amish people avoid using mirrors or looking at their reflection in water. Throughout their lives, they never had the opportunity to know what their own faces looked like. The only period when the Amish people can relax and not follow the strict rules, known as Rumspringa. This sentence can be expressed more clearly and naturally in the following ways. Before the Amish people were baptized and officially joined the community. Rumspringa. Since this was the last time the Amish people could experience a free life before entering the framework. This is also a crucial period for Amish youth to make decisions about whether they truly wish to become a permanent part of the community or not. Between the ages of 18 and 21, if they agree to join, their criminal records will be expunged. If not, they may have to leave the Amish community. The Amish community is not a single unified block. They are divided into four main groups: Old Order, New Order, Beachy Amish, and Amish Mennonites, and have different rules, with the Beachy Amish and Mennonite groups still using cars and electricity, while the other two groups use horse-drawn buggies. The Amish love parties, but their way of celebrating is quite different from ours. Extended families often gather in full force, and gifts are usually handmade or practical, useful items. Since they don't eat out often, a family trip to the local ice cream shop becomes a special event. They enjoy playing games together, whether it's chess, baseball, or volleyball. The main focus is being together. Gifts are not important, and sometimes they don't give any at all. Even wedding gifts are displayed on a long table, unwrapped. The Amish do not live a trouble-free life in a peaceful setting with perfect people. When looking back on their lives, what leaves the strongest impression is more than the horse-drawn buggies, large families, and lack of modern conveniences. They seem to have figured out how to prioritize what matters most: family, friends, neighbors, and faith. These are the important milestones in their lives. They don't care about a new car, the latest phone, or enticing promotions. With farming as the foundation of their livelihood, the Amish have preserved their traditional culture, not assimilated by modern lifestyles, despite living in one of the world's most advanced countries. They continuously seek and explore new lands, far from noisy urban areas. Currently, over 250,000 Amish live scattered across 30 U.S. states and Ontario, Canada. They are most concentrated in the three most populous states: Ohio, Pennsylvania, and Indiana. Set apart on the edge of the Amish village, the small grocery stores in the paintings of artist Elvahas, one of the few who violated and received the harshest punishment. A passion for painting led Elvahas away from the community when she was just 18. Amish art is not constrained by any concepts or rules. Despite skepticism from the community and strong opposition from her family, she firmly chose her own path and has never regretted it. Artist Elvahas shares that she was still very naive at the time and didn't foresee the consequences of her actions. Gradually, she noticed friends distancing themselves from her. My parents scolded me for wasting time. Tea matter anymore, because I experiencing and exploring the vast world outside. Eventually, things settled down, even though that person could no longer participate in community activities. But Elva has always maintained good relationships with neighbors and family, based on mutual respect. When visiting acquaintances or her parents, she always wears the simplest clothes possible and never wears jewelry. And most importantly, over the decades, Elva has preserved Amish traditions, even though her life is quite different. She shares that she still maintains the habit of waking up early, cooking her own breakfast, often creating new dishes, and doing her own laundry. From a young age, the Amish are taught to take responsibility for their own actions. They work, help the family as soon as they are able, and live a purposeful life. We are aware that we are an indispensable part of the family. And the family always needs us. Growing up in the Amish community, where suicide doesn't exist and everyone has a clear purpose, I always cherish the values instilled in me from childhood. Some things I can let go, but others I engrave in my heart. Housework, childcare, teaching children, and family relationships are things I value and cherish. And even though I'm no longer connected to the Amish community, I still preserve and apply those values in my own family. The Amish will expel any individuals who bring shame to their community, because they have violated religious rules, broken traditions, and caused a company to go bankrupt. When a person is expelled, they lose all contact with friends and family. After being expelled, any form of contact with the Amish community is strictly prohibited. 16-year-old teenage